What's up, guys? Your driver Mike here, back with another live stream. Welcome to the live stream. We have another exciting Saturday live stream for you guys. I am super pumped. Thanks for joining. Let's get this welcome screen here off for you. A lot to talk about today, guys. What's up? Thanks for joining the live stream. Again, so much to talk about, and we're talking everything money today, right? We're talking profit, we're talking expenses, how to save money, and some do's and don'ts for driving Uber and Lyft. You don't want to miss that. And I want to hear your questions about making money, profit, driving either platforms. And the big news here, guys, the big news that we saw this week is tipping is live. Probably in your market, it's been added to 121 US and Canadian markets. Not all markets, though, guys, unfortunately. Not all markets, not here in Pittsburgh. Atlanta, I've heard, does not have it. Phoenix does not have it. But again, 121 markets adding in-app tipping on the Uber platform, which is huge. Guys, if you're just joining this live stream, I want to welcome you to the live stream. This channel is dedicated to the rideshare space. If you're a driver, if you're a passenger, or if you're someone who just happens to be interested in the rideshare space, consider subscribing. Let's bring up the itinerary and your live chat because, as always, this is a roundtable discussion, a driver brainstorming, idea generator, and overall driver hangout. So let's see what we're talking about today. And so much to talk about. I am super pumped, guys. So here is our itinerary for today. Again, what are the best money-making strategies for driving Uber and Lyft? How can you save some money? What options are available to you? And we're here to answer any questions you have, not only about making money on the platform, but anything Uber and Lyft related. Thanks again, guys, for joining. We have a few people coming in here, and again, it's always a pleasure to do these roundtable live streams. Leave a comment if you would like. Again, we really encourage a dialogue here, so feel free to leave a question. If you're watching this in the rebroadcast, put a comment below in the comment section. We have more and more people joining. Hey, what's up, guys? How's it going? Happy Saturday. Hope you're having a good day so far. Hopefully your market is seeing some big changes with this in-app tipping here. And let me know. One of the questions I was trying to save, but it's too good of a question not to ask right now, is the biggest money-making supplement for Uber right now is in-app tipping. Does your market have in-app tipping? If so, how's it gone for you so far? Do passengers know about it? Because remember, passengers will need the updated app as well. And so will we, okay? As a driver, make sure to have the most updated driver app. And for whatever reason, you do have to opt in to tipping, okay? So when you update, it's going to ask you if you would like to add tips onto your platform, or if you don't, make sure to opt in if you have tipping in your market here. Francisco, hello from Brazil. That is awesome. Love our international viewers. We have viewers, guys, from Canada, from Europe, from Brazil. Francisco, thanks for joining. That is awesome. We have viewers from Switzerland and all over the United States. Thanks again for joining the live stream, guys. We're talking rideshare. We're talking the best money-making strategies for Uber and Lyft. Again, thanks for joining here, guys. Let's jump right into it. Again, checking out our itinerary here. The first thing we're going to talk about is surge, prime time, and tipping, okay? Understanding what it is, how it works, and to best utilize it, all right? And there's a few top strategies to maximize surge, let's say, on the Uber platform. Okay, we'll start right with Uber. And you guys know that it helps to centralize and to always be by the biggest demand areas, right? Doing that research, but also don't assume, okay? And that's one of the things we're going to touch on in our do's and don'ts section, is to not really assume. And what do I mean by that? We're going to get into that. So thanks again, guys. We have 5 people in the live stream. Seems like we keep having people jumping in, which is awesome here, guys. So let me show you something about surge. Now, you know the easiest predictor of surge is, of course, holidays, right? Big events. If you can, you need to get out here on holidays because we will see demand like this. Okay, here's an example of demand here in Pittsburgh. And guys, this is why I emphasize doing the research, knowing the demand trends of your city and being in the right place because you've researched the right places to stage at or to be at when driving. This is an example of, well, July 3rd, right? It was the evening of July 3rd going into July 4th. And we can see here why it always helps to be out and available when you can. This is a 4.4 surge rate, okay? The rates in Pittsburgh are $1.10 a mile, and knowing when it's going to peak, now obviously this is a more predictable demand peak right here, but just an example, guys, of knowing when it's going to surge is going to help you big time. If you are new to a market, okay, if you are familiar with your city, but you're not an expert at all areas of your city, that may be time to do some more research into what are the biggest areas and maybe the spots you typically don't go to, right? The north side of your city, east side, wherever, downtown, college areas. There's places in that are going to have micro markets, let's say, right? Micro areas of demand, and Uber's actually shown us this. In the past, right, I think it was maybe late 2015, Uber would send out demand maps showing you these little pockets. Now, they don't really do this, so it's up to you to do the research and to find these demand pockets. Let's show you what Lyft did. So that is Uber. Check out Lyft right here, okay? Now, let's say you were over, again, if you were down here by the 100% prime time, let's say, I can't point to it over the image here, but if you see that 100% prime time, okay, which is near our traditional bar area, if you're not exactly in the right place because you assumed that's the best demand area, you're going to miss out. And you can see here you're missing out on a 400%, on a 350%, which is the 5x, equivalent on Uber, right? So you have to know that you shouldn't always assume and say, okay, well, I'm going to sit in the bar areas because I know that's a high demand area. Not necessarily, okay? Look at the time. It's 10:39 p.m. here. Don't sit necessarily in those bar areas because you have to know the trend, right? It's going to be an ebb and flow. And at 10:39 p.m., most likely people are going to that bar area, but they're not necessarily leaving, so you should be somewhere else. Look downtown. Right here at the point here, you can see more dining establishments or places where people are leaving from. That's where you want to be here. Guys, 6 people in this live stream. That is awesome. Really appreciate it, guys. We're talking surge, prime time, tipping, which is new to a lot of markets right here, and tracking here. So let me know, especially for tipping, does your market have tipping, and how has it been for you? Are passengers educated in the tipping process? Let me know. So again, you have to be an educator for tips, let's say. Okay, let's move into tipping. You have to educate passengers about this new update on the Uber app. So let's bring this off. And let's go in to the do's and don'ts when driving on these platforms here, guys. If you have any questions, please feel free here. This may cover up the live chat area here, but I do want to post it for you guys. Okay, let's go into the do's and don'ts here of driving on the Uber platform. All right, let's check it out. A, you want to do your research. Again, this is why it's so critical. This is why I always mention it, because if you don't do your research, guys, you're not going to make good profit. You're going to be missing out on areas. You're going to be just missing demand peaks because you were late to it. And you'll see that in our don'ts section, more about that. Do that research. That's something that I've always stated from the start. Very important, guys. And secondly, be patient. All right? We saw that 4.4x on July 3rd. You know people have off work the next day for July 4th. Be patient as the surge grows and don't be online. All right? You can see here below that, be willing to take risks. What does that mean? Whenever you're watching surge growth and you have a certain threshold, 2.0, 2.5, whatever the typical demand trend is for your city, don't get eager and be patient. One of the biggest challenges for me sometimes is when I'm sitting in a demand zone that my research has shown is going to generate higher demand, is being patient. You will see surge growth. And guys, if you're watching this on the rebroadcast, if you're watching this live, we have a great video on maximizing surge demands, which show you the benefit of being patient. As surge grows, just wait. 2.0, it'll go 2.2, 2.5, whatever. Now, this is based off of your research. Here's the thing, guys. Your research is going to show when it goes online. Your research is going to tell you what that surge will peak at. Uber doesn't tell you, okay? They will tell you that for holidays, let's say, surge will be exceptionally high, demand will be exceptionally high, but no one tells you how high surge will go. Best example of this, New Year's Eve. If you are an expert in your market, you will know how much to expect for surge for New Year's Eve. Whenever you do that research, right, other drivers may go online and really miss out on profit. But by you doing the research and knowing trends, that's going to help you know exactly when to go online for New Year's Eve, okay? If it hits 6, 7, 8 times multiplier on surge, you know that because you've done the research. Now, how do you know how high it's going to go if you haven't driven New Year's Eve before? You can check out driver forums, okay? You can talk to other drivers, right? Get an idea of how high surge will go and then jump online. Now, let's bring it back to a normal weekend here. And we'll bring this back up here for you guys. On normal weekends, it's the same thing. It's even better on normal weekends because your research, you have a much higher sample size to pull from. You're seeing every single weekend. You know it should reach about 3x, 3.5x here in Pittsburgh, for instance. I know that typically I should expect a 3 or 3.5x on a Saturday night, let's say. So it helps to be patient and again, take the risk of waiting. That's what that refers to. Take the risk of waiting because, of course, guys, and I have done it and I have shown you this. If you watched our live stream during the Stanley Cup Finals here in Pittsburgh at PPG Paints Arena, my research told me that at the end of the game, surge should be 3x plus, and I think we mentioned that in the live stream. But it didn't. Demand really bottomed out and didn't do much at all. So you will have that, and that's part of taking the risks. If you don't fail sometimes, and if you don't miss demand trends, or if you don't miscalculate, that means you're not taking a risk, okay? But if you do the right research, you will succeed more often than not. Moving on. Stay offline during that surge growth. Not only are you going to be patient, but you're not going to pad Uber's algorithm of drivers by being online. It makes no sense if you're trying to capitalize on surge demands to be online. Guys, if you are staging at a bar area, wherever, even a large sporting event, concert venue, stay offline until you want to strike and go online to capitalize on surge. Because what you're doing if you stay online is you're telling Uber's algorithm, okay, hey, there's 10 cars that are waiting for rides and we have 15 passengers that need a ride, let's create a surge of 2.0. Okay, but if you stay offline, if more drivers stay offline, then it may show 5 drivers in the area, 15 passengers that need a ride, and Uber's algorithm may surge 3.0. Okay, and again, you are allowed to go online when you would like. There's nothing wrong with that. That's a strategy that you need to do if you want to capitalize on surge. Now, if you want to get straight volume, if you would rather have more volume and try to double up, come back to the area, and let's say get a 2.2, okay, and then come back and hopefully get another 2.2, then that's a different strategy. Now we're talking about hitting the biggest peak in surge, and again, check out that video on maximizing surge because that's what we did. We waited and we capitalized on a $75 ride. One ride, $75 ride in 30 minutes. DMT Lewis, thanks for joining. DMT Lewis, who was in the last live stream here, has joined today. He is working right now. The tips are the best. DMT Lewis is in New York, and he is seeing right now, guys, in-app tipping, which is awesome. That's great to hear, Lewis. Really nice to see that people are having success with tipping, guys. And again, guys, if you have tipping in your market, let us know. It really helps all of us see how tips are going. And hopefully, for those of us who don't have in-app tipping, we will see it soon. Well, we will see it soon because Uber's launching in-app tipping for all US and Canadian markets at the end of this month here in July. So, guys, moving on. For the do's of driving Uber, mix it up with the hotspots. Again, don't assume. Mix it up with those hotspots. Not only is that going to get you more familiar with your city and knowing the ins and outs of those hotspots, because guys, it's not just one street, one route, park here. No, there's some nuanced shortcuts to maybe get to a location easier, to get better parking, which is going to give you a higher chance of getting that ride at the highest surge peak. So mix it up with the hotspots, okay? If I'm driving in the south side of here in Pittsburgh, I know that's a huge hotspot for bars, but only around certain windows, okay? If I know there's a huge event going on somewhere else in the city, maybe I don't want to be in the south side on Saturday night because I'm going to mix it up. And like I've said before, when you're driving, look around and see where the people are, see those big hotspots, or if you pick up from a large event that you're not familiar with, talk to the passengers. Okay, if a bar is just blowing up with demand, talk to the passengers and say, hey, why is it so busy tonight? What's going on? They may tell you that, Wednesdays are a huge trivia night or whatever it may be. So when you're mixing up your hotspots, you're basically giving you more and more options to make profit and not rely on one hotspot. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket. So now, instead of me being familiar with, okay, here's point A, here's South Side, here are the bars that I know, because again, in these hotspots, guys, there's specific establishments that are actually generating the highest search demand. If I'm in that South Side, there's tons of bars. Which ones are the best bars? Okay, let's say I can't get to the South Side for whatever reason. What else is there? If there's too many drivers down there, if I'm not seeing surge demands hit down there, where else can I go? If I ask you that question, where else can you go? If I ask you what are the biggest hotspots in your city, what's the biggest one? If you don't have another answer besides the first one, then you're missing out on profit. I could tell you 4, 5, 6, 7 places here in Pittsburgh that have other areas for high demand. That's why you want to mix up hotspots. Guys, thanks again for joining this live stream here as we talk about the do's and don'ts of driving Uber and Lyft here. We have 8 people on the live stream. Thank you so much for joining me here on this Your Driver Mike live stream on Saturday on a kind of overcast sunny day here in Pittsburgh. There we go. Appreciate it, guys. So again, what are the best strategies for driving Uber and Lyft? Now more than ever, and like DMT Lewis just indicated to, Tips are here in most markets. If they're not here, they're coming. Now's the time to really emphasize customer service for tips. This does not mean going overboard with customer service, but maybe the little things that weren't being done before, now you can focus on to close on getting those tips, okay? If it is continuing conversation, maybe you didn't want to continue conversation with a passenger, so you kind of cut it short. Maybe you didn't really add anything engaging to the conversation. Maybe you didn't really turn up the radio too much when they had their favorite song on. I'm not talking about blasting it, right? But I've had passengers tell me to turn it up a little bit, and I accommodate that, okay? Maybe you are on a especially high surge, and the passenger wants to, I don't know, bring in a piece of pizza. That's your call. Have the waterproof seat covers like I've mentioned in other videos. That'll be a bigger piece of, more peace of mind for you. But maybe that one time, just accommodate it. Anything like that, and it doesn't have to be the food thing if you guys aren't feeling it, that's cool. But anything like that, little customer service things can make someone's experience and generate a tip. Think about times when you've tipped more than normal. Why did you tip more than normal? Most likely, it was because customer service. Usually, if I tip more than normal, and I'm sure you guys can echo this, really every single time it's based on customer service. It's not that, hey, this product was so exceptionally better that I have to give these guys a tip. Like let's say, if you're out to eat, do you really tip solely based on the food being that much better than the last restaurant we were at? Or do you tip because the service was absolutely exceptional, or they did something, or made you feel special and heightened your experience, which was around the dinner, and that's why you tipped more? That's what I've done, okay? So now may be the time to focus on customer service. And again, doesn't have to be overboard. It definitely doesn't have to be fake, because people can smell that a mile away. Don't be fake, but maybe just be a little bit more engaging and try to close on getting those tips. DMT Lewis, New York City tipping. And he highlights $2, $5, $10. Here where I am right now, 35 minutes away, it's $1, $2, $5. So I guess it changes depending on where it is, but they always have the option to custom tip, which is the best. Yeah, guys, for your in-app tipping, A, make sure you opt into tipping. B, passengers are going to see the option to tip $1, $2, or $5 like Lewis mentioned there. Or they can enter a custom tip. And something that I wanted to emphasize in my notes here is for us to be educators. Okay? Passengers may not know that they need to update their app. Passengers may not know that, hey guys, you don't have to just donate, $1, $2, and $5. You can enter a custom tip amount if you'd like as well. That's where we need to be educators. Let's go back to this, guys. Lastly here, under the dues of driving for Uber, compare trends with Lyft. This may seem obvious, but maybe not. You need to be driving for both Uber and Lyft. And once you do, you need to compare trends between Uber and Lyft. And let's see, I have something here for you, I believe. Yes, we do. Let me show you something. Okay, so you are driving for Lyft and Uber. And I thought I had it up here, guys. Let me show you one thing here. So check this out. Okay, this is a random day this week. Look at the difference. This is, I'm not sure, Thursday, so whatever day it was this week. Look at this animation. 3:35 p.m., the same time, but between either platform, it's a mere difference. This is why you need to drive for both Uber and Lyft. And before you make any decisions on when to go online or if you should take a ride request, look at this first. Compare either app. As you can see here, Lyft is doing nothing, right? Lyft really isn't doing much. Now, let's say I was more west of where I am right now, but if I was more west in that Forest Hills area, you can see if I was on Lyft alone, it wouldn't look like anything. But if I'm on Uber, Uber is really picking up at that time. DMT Lewis, is tipping available in your city? No, it's not, unfortunately. We're here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and unfortunately we don't have in-app tipping. For whatever reason, guys, I know if you're in markets that don't have in-app tipping yet, it's coming by the end of the month. I can tell you that. It's coming by the end of the month. Philadelphia, Harrisburg, State College, smaller markets like Lehigh Valley, Pennsylvania, all have in-app tipping. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania does not have in-app tipping for some reason. I don't know, guys. It's just how the way they're doing it. I think it's probably some kind of tiered launch. I don't know, but it is coming here at the end of the month. So again, guys, this right here is why it's so important to drive for both Uber and Lyft. And again, one of the do's of driving these platforms is to compare for this very reason. We have 9 people on the live stream. Thanks so much, guys. We have 10 people on the live stream. We have 10 people on the live stream. That is awesome, guys. Hey, if you're enjoying the live stream so far, if you've checked out the channel, you like the content that we're putting out here, can you please leave a like on the live stream? Not only does that show me that you guys like the live stream, that you're getting value from it, but it boosts us in YouTube's algorithm, gets more eyes on this, gets more people in here, and gets more people on the Your Driver team. I'd really appreciate it, guys. If you like the live stream, or if you're watching in the rebroadcast, can you please leave a like on the live stream? Thank you. David, not in Dallas, Fort Worth yet. I know, guys, I feel ya, because I'm feeling it here too. We don't have it yet in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, unfortunately. One thing we can do, though, is still be educators about tips. We can, you know what? Here, let me take this off here. It's probably blinking back and forth for you guys. We can still be educators about tips. We can say, oh, you know, one of the things that Uber is doing, especially if they ask you about how you like driving for Uber, you can say one of the big things that they're doing is they're adding in-app tipping. So you guys can finally tip through the app after you rate me, your driver, which is a really great and long-needed feature, which we're really drivers are really enjoying in other markets. So even though we don't have it yet, let's try to be educators and get as many people educated about this feature, which is coming to most every market here in just about 3.5 weeks. Okay. Moving on, 11 people in the live stream here. Are we going to break the record, guys? I think last time we had 17 people in the live stream. Another thing, when you watch videos, and especially if you're watching this live stream right now, share it out if you'd like. If you know some other drivers, if you know someone who's thinking about driving Uber or Lyft, share this video out, and we can help as many people as we can. So let's move on to some don'ts of driving for Uber. So guys, you can be proactive in both aspects. There are do's that you can be on the offensive, and there are don'ts. You can be on the defensive. Both are going to help you when driving Uber. And these are just my opinions, guys. And the reason we do these live streams is to have a roundtable discussion. If you agree, if you disagree, feel free to leave a comment in the live stream, or if you're watching the rebroadcast, feel free to leave a comment. We have some really, really good dialogue on this channel, guys. It's great. I love talking to you guys. And we all learn. And that's part of it. We all learn, and helps everybody. So the don'ts. of driving for Uber, guys, one of the things you should not do is if you're trying to capitalize on surge, is to not take extremely low surge. There's a few strategies to this. Okay, one, where you're balancing expenses and profit, and two, where you're trying to generate cash flow, and cash flow is different than net revenue. If you're taking extremely low surge, 1.2, 1.4, 1.5, how much are you going to net after your expenses? Generally, your write-off for this year is 53.5 cents a mile, okay? If you're driving lower surge, the time invested, if you're doing a 5-minute pickup to your passenger, if you're doing a 10-minute ride with your passenger, if you are then moved out of your most strategic areas and you may have gotten, I don't know, $7, what does that really net you after the expenses? Now, cash flow. Let's talk about cash flow. Like I mentioned with the surge example, if you simply want cash flow, you may take the volume strategy. You may take lower surges, but you may take higher volume of rides. Maybe you drive a 1.8 instead of waiting for a 2.5. If I take one 2.5 and it's a 30-minute ride, that's great. That's pretty good profit. If you take a 1.8 and you take 3 rides, you're probably going to make more than me. Now, you will have more miles on the car, but you're going to make more than me. And you're going to have a higher tax write-off for mileage. So you have to decide what you want. Do you want to clear more profit and capitalize on surge, minimize your miles? Or do you want to look slightly more short-term and boost up your immediate cash flow? You're going to have higher expenses. Technically, because of those higher expenses, you probably are not clearing as much on actual net profit per hour, but in the short term, you're getting higher cash flow. That's up to you guys. In my opinion here, taking extremely low surge, again, is only going to put more miles on your car. It's going to have higher expenses and lower net profit. Okay, actual take-home money is going to be lower when you're on the lower surge runs. Okay. Let me see if we have any questions in here, guys. See if I can keep up with you. DMT Lewis says, yeah, let me bring the chat down for you guys. DMT Lewis says, they ask me a lot about it, and I tell them all about the tipping and that they have to update, and so do drivers. Yeah, we all have to update our apps because it's actually obviously new software coded into the apps, of course. One passenger told me today that she wanted to give me a tip to the app, but the driver didn't have the app updated. Too bad for him, needs to pay more attention on Uber News. I've heard that. Yeah, I've heard some drivers that did not have their Uber apps updated. That's why I said in our other video about tipping and updates that you need to update your app. You need to check that video. And if I can, I'll link a video up here somewhere posting that video. But it shows the 120 markets where tipping is live now. As Lewis just stated, you can be missing out on money. There literally could have been more money in your account that you could have had because you earned a tip and did not get it because you didn't update your app. And honestly, I bet that passenger didn't even tell their driver, or they may not tell you. They may not say, they may not say, hey, you don't have your driver app updated. I was going to tip you in the app, but you didn't have your app updated. And again, you can be missing out on money there. Okay, guys, so more don'ts of driving on the Uber platform here, guys. This is big. Don't jump online when you see others online. That's big. Again, like I said in the do's, you want to stay offline during that surge growth if you're trying to maximize your profit. If you jump online, and this goes back to being patient, if you jump online when you see others going online, that's just going to hurt Uber's algorithm, okay? And that's going to decrease surge growth. If you go online just because you see others jumping on for a 2x, let's say, and that's what happens, this is the example of what happens here is when surge is growing, some drivers will stay offline and they will wait for that surge growth like we talk about. But it's going to hit a level that's below your threshold. It's going to hit a, let's say, 2x, okay? And a 2x is fine, all right? And depending on your rate per mile in your market, 2x may be very good, you know? Some markets like Seattle, I was watching your personal driver's live stream last night, and rates in Seattle are 130 a mile. So a 2x for him is very good, you know. Even a 1.5 is decent for his market at 130 a mile. You know, you're making 260 a mile on a 2x. That's pretty good. Now, Oklahoma City, or Bobby, who joins our live streams from Orlando, 65 cents a mile. His 2x is like what, 130 a mile? Okay. So Bobby's 2x is the normal rate that your personal driver has in Seattle. So that's why you have to know your market, know what is the appropriate surge peak, and know your own threshold. Okay. Bobby in Orlando, maybe he doesn't want to take a 2x at 130 a mile. Maybe his threshold is a 3.5x, whereas your personal driver will go online sooner because his rates are higher at 130. So the reason you don't want to jump online is because drivers are going to go online below your threshold. You will see drivers jumping online at 2.0, when for me, my threshold, let's say, is 2.5 or 3.0. Here's where your research is crucial, guys. Doing your research will tell you when to go online, okay, and what you should expect. Because if you don't do that research, you may just say, oh my gosh, it's 2.0, I got to go online because everyone else is going online, and rides are disappearing. Maybe yes and maybe no, because doing the research will tell you, hey, guys, there's plenty of rides out here. You don't have to go online at a 2x, okay? It's 2 a.m. and the bar's let out. There is at least 1,000 people here that need a ride, or whatever it may be, maybe not 1,000. I don't need to go online for a 2x. It's 1:58. I still have a few minutes, and surge is just going to increase. And typically, guys, that's what happens. Surge will go from 2 to 2.5 to 3.2 to 3.5, and that's when you pull the trigger. Okay. If you go at a 2x, what if you get a 30-minute ride? You're out of the surge zone. It's 2:30 by the time you finish. By the time you want to get back, it's 3 a.m. Surge is gone. Okay, and that's what we talk about in that maximizing surge video. And lastly here, guys, the biggest don't of driving on the Uber platform, especially if you're a new driver, guys, pay attention, heads up right here, guys, or a refresher for all of us is obviously don't chase surge. The number one mistake that new drivers make, and we did a video on this, the number one thing that I talked about was not chasing surge. And this is a piece of advice that stands the test of time that I got in 2015, and it still holds true, is don't chase surge. You don't want to chase it, you want to beat it. You don't want to chase it, you want to beat it. You want to be in those areas before the algorithm even knows it, because you're smarter, because you know your city, you know where to be. Again, I talk about the south side because that's where the bars are. I know I should be down there. I should start heading down there, let's say, at 1:30 a.m. Because when those bars let out at 2 a.m., I'm going to get that 3.2, 3.5, or higher. But if you chase surge that's already appeared, think how many drivers are in a closer radius than you. If you're right next to surge, by all means, you can do that. And we talk about that in some of our Lyft strategy videos. is you can chase it if it's 1 to 3 minutes away, let's say 4 minutes probably, okay, but 5 minutes and more, you're kind of pushing it. And Uber's system changes every, I don't know, 2 minutes or so. So if, let's show you this again here, guys. You know what, let me show you something right. Let's go back to this, okay? Look where I'm at. On the east side, on the right side of that map there. There's so many things that go into it. I know how long it's going to take me to get from that point to that surge area, and I know the Uber platform, okay? Again, big tip for new drivers here is don't chase that surge. Do not go after that surge demand unless you're already in that general area, okay? Because by the time you get there, it's going to be gone. And then you put those miles in your car, and as we've shown in other videos, sometimes the area that you just came from will start surging because a lot of outside drivers just came in to the surge area, which is now fulfilled. Rides are gone, okay? So don't chase a surge. Let's catch up with your comments here, guys. 11 people on the live stream. Appreciate it, guys. We have allotted an hour to an hour and 30 minutes for this live stream. We do it every Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We talk about the rideshare space, and that's what this channel is dedicated to, the rideshare space. So if you're a driver, if you're a passenger, if you're someone that just happens to be interested in the rideshare space, consider subscribing. And again, guys, if you're enjoying the live stream, if you appreciate the content on this channel, if you are, again, enjoying the live stream so far, leave a like on this video. If you're watching on the rebroadcast, if you guys could please leave a like, shows me that you guys value the content in this live stream. I have a few comments to catch up on here. Okay. David says, until then, you can use Square. Yeah, a Square card reader which accepts credit cards for tips. You can definitely do that. You are allowed to do that, guys. David, remember, bad weather is a plus. Absolutely, and we get as much rain as anywhere in the country next to, I don't know, Seattle, here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. So I'm definitely familiar with the bad weather, and bad weather definitely increases surge. And we did a video on winter surge with snow, so we did comment a little bit about that. Franco, thanks for joining the live stream. Just get an Uber SUV and you will be good. Is that in reference to the bad weather? Yeah. If you get an Uber SUV. Yeah, guys, larger vehicles on the Uber platform and Lyft. Excuse me. Uber SUV, Uber XL, higher rates. Okay. Better in poor weather, right? Higher operational costs, obviously, so just keep that in mind too, guys. Franco, thanks for joining the live stream. David, thank you for joining, and I really appreciate it. Guys, if you have any questions at all, we have not even gotten into Lyft yet. We have the pros and cons of the Lyft platform, and we have a lot more to talk about how to save money. And answering the question, how much money should you expect to make as an Uber or Lyft driver here? So feel free, if you have a comment, post it in the live stream, or if you're watching on the rebroadcast, post it in a comment below. All right, guys, so moving on, let's talk about Lyft. Here are my do's and don'ts when driving on the Lyft platform. Let's see, bring it up here in just a sec. I'm just reviewing this. Boom, there you go. Not as many here. I think it's pretty comparable to Uber. So I would compare both. Watch this again in the rebroadcast here. But some new things to consider when driving for Lyft. Firstly, look for those higher spikes compared to Uber. That's not the same thing as comparing demand trends. Look for higher spikes compared to Uber. What that means is that typically, from what I've seen, and please guys echo this if you're seeing the same, typically what I've seen is while Lyft will prime time more specifically in more targeted areas and less spread out than Uber Surge, Lyft will prime time in higher increments than Uber Surge. So when you're driving, that 150% may shoot up to 250%, okay? Or maybe even 300% if it's especially high demand. Versus Uber, traditionally what I've seen is you have to go through the 2.2, 2.6, 3.0, 3.2, and then you're at, 3.5. Generally. This most likely doesn't apply to exceptionally high demand sporting events, holidays like Halloween when demand can definitely shoot up rapidly. But generally for your weekend bar trips, maybe even airport runs at hotels or smaller events that are letting out, generally what I've seen is Lyft prime time will spike in higher increments than Uber. David says, true. David, I do my regular driving during the day, on the weekends, and then hit my hotspots at night, starting at midnight. Very good. Nice, nice. Similar to what I do, I believe. Okay, well, I do drive more during the hotspots at night, so I will echo that, driving the bar rush hours. But yeah, it's all about hotspots, guys, as David mentions here. So guys, again, that's why you want to drive for both. And not only because one will surge and the other will have nothing, like we've seen, but if there's high demand, again, you may see Lyft spiking. And what is really interesting is that as of late, I've been seeing this more and more on Lyft. We know that Lyft took a 25-30% market share from Uber, growing from about a 10% share in 2015. They claim it's 30%, okay? Reports show that it's closer to 25%, but they're taking a huge market share in the last couple of years. So I'm seeing more and more Lyft runs now than ever. How about you? Are you guys seeing more trends towards Lyft? Higher primetime spikes, more ride requests? Has tipping remained constant with Lyft? That's an interesting question. With Uber adding in-app tipping, are more passengers thinking about tips again? And perhaps overall we'll start tipping more on both platforms? Let me know. Next, compare trends with Uber. We did talk about that already. 3, understand the prime time to surge conversion. More so something for newer drivers, but guys, remember that the Lyft prime time is showing an additional amount added on to your normal fare. So if Lyft is showing a 100% prime time, what that actually means is that it's adding 100% to the normal fare. So fare 1, fare 2, it's a 2x. That's the conversion there. It's a 2x comparing it to Uber, right? Uber is just going to show, hey, it's a 2x multiplier. It's your rate times 2. Okay. Lyft, hey, it's 150%, if I can find the camera there. It's 150%. Here's your normal fare. So it's going to be 2.5 total. There we go, guys. You can see how it's a little bit confusing, right? So 150% is a 2.5x on Uber because you're taking your standard fare. You're taking 150% of that, adding it together, it's a 2.5x, okay? Another example, let's do one more. 300%, okay? You're taking your normal ride, you're taking 3 times that ride, add them together, it's a 4x, okay? May seem a little confusing, and I kind of feel like it is confusing still, but they probably can't do the same thing as Uber. Maybe for some legal reasons, I'm not sure if that's a patented software feature. It may be, but that's what it is. Remember, guys, Lyft primetime conversion to Uber Surge, you're adding that fare to a normal ride. David, good tipping and increasing rides in Fort Worth. That is awesome. That's good to hear. And it's really interesting to see what's going to happen here going forward with the addition of tipping for Uber here. The don'ts of driving on the Lyft platform, guys. Don't assume you have to wait in the highest prime time zones. Lyft has told us before, which is really big, guys. Pay attention right here. Lyft has told us before that prime time is a general approximation of demand. That the prime time rectangles on the map don't indicate exact areas of high demand, okay? For better or worse, that's their system. Uber has a very kind of pinpoint surge algorithm. That's what Lyft has told us. Now, it's kind of true, it's kind of not, because generally it will prime time over high demand areas, right? Bars and whatnot. But don't assume you don't have to be right in the prime time zones, okay? Especially if you feel, or if you check and you see that there's not a lot of drivers around you. If traffic is especially bad, if parking is especially bad in those areas, you don't have to be exactly in that square. And you can still get that maximum prime time. Prime time can be 500% in some downtown area, but if you wait down the road, a block away or so, and it's more convenient for you, you can still get that request. And you should always be the closest driver, but on Lyft, that's not necessarily the case, because at least in the past, they have told us that they also consider how long you've been waiting for. And let me know if anyone's heard updates on this, but Lyft will consider, hey, how far away are you? But also, how long have you been waiting compared to other drivers? And from what I've seen, Lyft does seem to be more flexible with giving ride requests based on prime time. So again, don't assume you have to be in those high prime time zones. Next, guys, don't jump online when you see others go online. We talked about that in the Uber do's and don'ts. Lastly here, guys, don't drive around with the glow stash, or, well, it's Lyft amp. I put beacon there, but it's the Lyft amp. Don't drive around with the glow stash or Lyft amp turned on. Really, that's just an operational thing, guys. I don't advise to have much of anything plugged in, okay? If you can do without leaving the amp plugged in, or the glow stash especially, because the glow stash charges via micro USB in the back. I'm not sure about the amp, but don't leave these devices plugged in. Again, it comes down to experience, it comes down to customer service. The one thing I would say that's okay to leave plugged in is your phone. And I actually would advise strongly to leave that phone plugged in, because the last thing you want is to have a phone with no charge or be digging around for your charger whenever you're in a high demand period. So the less cords you can have, the better. And that's one of the things, the great things about the Falcon F360 dash cam that I use, is that it has a cord management system that goes up through the ceiling board, under the floor mats, and it's pretty well hidden, which again kind of adds to the cleanness of the setup here, guys. So that is more of a operational thing here. Don't drive around with the glow stash or the amp or the beacon turned on. Save the battery and don't have to worry about leaving things charged. All right, guys, so any questions? I'm going to open this up here to questions right now. Any questions about the do's and don'ts of driving for Uber and or Lyft? Anything about comparing rates, about driving for big holidays? We saw some big demand here for July 4th. Any questions before we move on? I want to talk about ways to save money. So if we don't have any questions, I'm going to look here, guys, but if we don't have any questions, we're going to move on. And we're going to talk about ways to save money. We talked about some of the do's and don'ts to make you the most money. We talked about that for both Uber and Lyft. Now we're going to talk about, well, okay, if I maximize my profits, how am I going to minimize my expenses? And something that's really not talked about too much, I don't feel. There's a lot of dialogue around, well, how do I make the most money? But how do you minimize your expenses, which is part of it. Guys, we still have 11 people on the live stream here. As we approach an hour on this live stream, really appreciate it, guys. Each and every one of you. 11 people. Really appreciate each and every one of you joining this live stream here, guys. Really good time. Every Saturday, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard. Yes, 12:30. Sorry, guys. Thought I said something else. 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania here. This channel, we talk about rideshare. It is dedicated to the rideshare space. So let's move on, guys. If I don't see any questions here, we're going to move on. All right. So how can you save money and minimize your expenses? Oh, David, loving his Falcon 360 and riders like the security. Yeah, we can talk about dash cams, guys. And hey, heads up to everyone in this live stream, or if you're watching on the rebroadcast, depending on what time you watch this rebroadcast here, we are giving away a free Falcon F360 HD dual cam dash camera. We are giving away a Falcon F360 dash cam, the one that I use, the one that we've done reviews on, unboxings, the one that I always recommend. Would you like a free Falcon F360? Well, we have a video on the channel celebrating 500 subscribers. I'll leave a link in this description as well here, as long as the competition is still open here. All you have to do is watch videos, subscribe. You can tweet at me. There's a lot of ways to enter here, guys. The more activities that you do, let's say, watching videos, if you subscribe or etc., that's more entries to win, and we are doing the drawing here in less than a month. So you can win a Falcon F360, which records in 720p, which takes pictures in 1080p, which has a whole bunch of features here. So I definitely recommend that dash cam and check out that competition. Or if you guys don't want a dash cam, you can get a $100 gift card to the retailer of your choice. Check out that competition, guys, and best of luck. So how to save money when driving for Uber and or Lyft. A few things that we talked about here, we have some notes here, is the first thing that we talked about are gas cards, okay? If you are not using gas cards, look at what's available in your area, okay? I will have a Sheetz card, which saves 3 cents off of gas at every Sheetz location. You can look at credit cards if you have credit card reward programs that offer rebates on gas. Another thing we talked about, which was kind of had a majority opinion on, but Uber has their own gas card, okay? And what this does is you will receive an Uber gas card, and you will swipe it as a rewards card when filling up, and that will save you some money off a tank of gas, but the funds are taken from your earnings, okay? So you kind of have to be wary of how much you're using it, because again, it's going to take it from your earnings. It doesn't take it from your bank account per se. It's going to withhold that from your earnings, so you don't want to spend too much on that card itself. Excuse me, guys. Yeah, so I haven't heard too many good things about the gas card there, but if you've had success using the gas card, let me know. But a lot of us said that it really hasn't been the best feature, but that can save you some money on gas, and if it works for you, I would definitely recommend using that. Strategy-wise, how can you save money? Guys, one of the biggest things that I say, and I believe we talked about this in other videos, is do not drive around looking for ride requests. All right, you don't want to drive around looking for ride requests. That's going to increase your expenses. It's going to increase your maintenance. It's going to put more miles on the car. Okay, and these are all things you don't want, right? Ideally, you want to be paid for every single mile that you're taking. and you want to minimize any miles without a passenger, right? Obviously, you're going to have in-transit miles. You're going to have in-transit miles to staging areas to get to high demand areas. But by parking, you want to minimize those expenses. That's what I always recommend. That's what I always try to do. And you've seen it, guys. We have live streamed while we have parked in high demand areas here, because it doesn't make sense to drive around, put miles in your car, simply looking for a ride, because again, Uber is going to give ride requests to the closest driver. So as long as you're doing the research and you're already in those high demand areas, you should be getting rides, okay? Now, after an extended period of time, if you're getting nothing, if you're in a hotspot, then typically your market is probably pretty slow for that night. You're going to have to weigh the costs and benefits if you want to be out there at all. Because again, you should be in the hottest demand areas anyway. So if that's slow, you want to, again, reevaluate that market for the night. Talked about minimize staging movements. Yes. Okay, let's talk about some Uber discounts. If you haven't visited your reward center in a while, let's show you what the updated reward center looks like. Or if you're a new driver, guys, there's plenty of money saving options for you in the Uber Rewards Center. And I want to show you here. This is what's available to you. This is free savings, basically, that Uber is providing for you as a driver. If you do any DIY stuff, if you need supplies, extra headlights, wipers, whatever it may be, right there's a 10% AutoZone discount. Tires, 15% off at Firestone, products and services. Tires at 10% above wholesale. Jiffy Lube, 15% off products and services. And it goes on. And the one that I use here is, if you look at the bottom right, that Valvoline discount, that's what I use. 15% off products and services. So when I get an oil change, all I do is show them that discount, and it saves me a good amount of money. And I try to take care of the Dodge Caliber by getting full synthetic on my oil changes. I'm actually going to show you here, guys, if I can. Yeah, I try to get full synthetic, but that can be more expensive. So by using these partner discounts, I can save some money on my business expense, which is my oil change here, guys. All right, here we go. All right, let's show you what this looks like. So when you go into your rewards section in your Uber app, if you haven't done this, make sure to do this for oil changes. It's going to look like this. If I can get it to focus, there we go. So Valvoline discount, show coupon to claim offer. It's going to have a picture of your profile picture, and it says 15% off all discounts and services. There is no code. They don't have to do anything like that. They can just enter it as is. There we go. So guys, again, these are all the rewards that are available to you to help save you money. So what are we doing? We're using gas cards when we can. We are parking for requests. We are minimizing staging movements. And we're taking advantage of Uber rewards. So do you guys have any other strategies? Hey, 12 people on the live stream. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Oh, 12 people. That's awesome, guys. Really enjoy doing these live streams, talking to you guys every Saturday here. Talking rideshare. If you have any questions, if you have any other strategies to save money, leave a comment. Let us know. And guys, if you're just joining, can you please leave a like on the live stream here? Would really appreciate it. Shows me that you guys are getting value and boosts us in YouTube's algorithm. Gets more people in here. Gets more people on the Your Driver team. I'm going to actually see if I can find... If I can find real time here, guys, how many likes you're leaving on this. There we go. That's awesome, guys. We have 10 likes on it already. Really appreciate that. We have 13 people on this live stream. That's great, guys. All right, guys, so before we move on, again, before we close this up here, do you have any other suggestions about how to save money on the Uber platform? One more time here, guys. Use gas cards when you can. If there's any combined discounts, use that as well, all right? We have Giant Eagle, which is a grocery store chain here in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where they offer fuel perks if you shop with them for groceries. So you get kind of discounts on fuel. If you use fuel, you can get discounts on groceries. So you can get kind of double-sided discounts in that way. If there's any way to combine discounts, definitely look into that. But yeah, gas cards, guys. Parking, which is big. Always just park when getting ride requests because you want to minimize those expenses of dead miles without a passenger. And utilize a partner rewards center. Tracy, thanks for joining. Tracy asks, how do you get riders to update their Uber version for tipping? It just comes down to education and prompting, really. Obviously, they can update it whenever they want. I would emphasize the benefit to them because we shouldn't emphasize the benefit to us. So what I would say is obviously educate about tipping. Say, what a really great feature that Uber just released is in-app tipping. I think a lot of passengers were asking for in-app tipping, and it helps us as drivers to get in-app tipping. So yeah, guys, check out the most updated version if you want. You can see what it looks like. And actually, if you update your Uber app, you may see some new features that you don't have there currently. May make things a little bit easier for you. So go ahead and update your app if you can, if you want. There's probably some cool things in there. So say it just like that. Say, hey, it may make it easier for you guys. Okay, and it's the truth. Every Uber update on these apps is going to make it easier for them. Because at the very, very least, Uber is cleaning up their app and removing bugs, or they're adding new features to make it easier for drivers and passengers, okay? So highlight the benefit to them, okay? If you highlight the benefit to you, that's not going to provide any action. If you say, hey, I'd really appreciate tips, you should update your app, and then you can tip your driver. They'll say, well, I'm kind of busy right now. I don't really want to do that. But if you say, hey, if you update your app, not only do they have in-app tipping for Raj, which is pretty cool, and you can tip if you want, but when you update your app, it may save you time. It may be a little bit easier for you. Something like that. You want to emphasize the benefit to them. I'm glad I could help. That's awesome. Yeah, it's always about emphasizing the benefit to them. And what we talk about in our customer service tips is making it about them because, it's your car, You are in your car, you are using your equipment, your phone, you're the one behind the wheel. You're already wielding a lot of control in this situation. So you don't want to seem intimidating at all. You want to seem welcoming and understanding and someone that they can talk to. So again, they're getting into your car, you're behind the wheel, it's your phone, you're the driver. You want to make them feel welcome. So by focusing on them, whether it be in conversation, a customer service thing, talk about their day, talk about their night first. And, if they ask about you, go ahead, you can talk a little bit about that, but turn it back on to them, right? And make them feel good. Thanks, David. Glad you enjoyed that. Yeah, okay, example, guys. Excuse me, sorry. If I said, hey guys, welcome to the channel. I know everything about rideshare and you need to follow this channel. If you don't follow this channel, you are missing out so much, you'd be stupid not to follow this channel. No, no. That's a hard sell move that some salespeople do, especially in the real estate sector, I believe. But it just depends on your sales style. My background's in customer service, and it's more valuable to you to emphasize the benefit for you. You come on here to get value. Okay, I'm getting value because I'm talking to you. I'm continually learning. Okay, and it's just something I'm passionate about. I get value just by talking to you, just as a conversational thing. But I emphasize the value to you because that's why you're here. If you want to maximize profits, if you want to maximize earnings, if you're just interested in the rideshare space that I say, I target the audience. This is for drivers, this is for passengers, really anyone interested in the rideshare space because we talk about so many angles, right? Everything that we do here emphasizes the value to you and how you provide value to me. And that's how we make a community here, right? It's not just me, okay? It's not just me, it's all of us. I don't really consider it my channel per se. I consider it, me leading the community in dialogue around rideshare, let's say. Yeah. So, let's see. Any other tips? I believe we're 14 people on live stream. That's awesome, guys. We only got 18 minutes left. Only 18 minutes. So if you have any questions, any other thoughts, like Tracy just provided a great question there. Feel free to provide a question as we wrap up this. It goes so quick, guys. It goes so. I have a whole list of notes here, and today we're talking everything money here. Quick review. We talked about how to make money, surge, prime time, trends, the do's and don'ts of driving Uber and Lyft. We talked about how to save money, gas cards, perks, driving strategies. Okay. What else, though? What else? Let's finish here. And we talked about a lot of the main things that I did want to cover, which is great. Oh, yes. Okay, our last point. How much can you make as an Uber or Lyft driver? Guys, I hear so many reports of drivers making $10 an hour, $8 an hour, below minimum wage, okay? If you sign up to drive, imagine you sign up to drive, okay? Put yourself in a new market. You have no experience in that market, okay? If you sign up to drive and I handed you an app like Uber that you had no idea how to use, it was a new app, okay? It's your driver Mike's rideshare app. And you download it and you go online and rides start coming in, okay? You're not going to do very well, okay? If I told you to, I don't know, anything, any task, if you have no instruction, if you have no research on what success looks like, what does success look like on their Uber and Lyft platform, then you're probably going to fail, okay? The reason that I would like to think that I succeeded and was in the top, I don't know, 5%, 10% of earners. If you guys remember, back in the day, Uber sent us emails about earnings per hour compared to other drivers, and I was way out in front of other drivers, okay? $42 an hour versus, I don't know, 28, something like that, is because of research. It's because of being an expert, not only in my city, being an expert in your market, being an expert on the platform, and then be an expert about how to execute on the operations side. That's what's going to help you make the most money. If you jump on and you go on your driver Mike's rideshare app with no research, you're going to make, who knows, I don't know, $10 an hour, whatever it is. That's what I'm saying. But you can make $20 an hour, $30 an hour, and in the rare circumstances, we've shown $40, $50, $60 an hour in fares, okay? And now, passengers ask me all the time, Tracy asks, what do you do with left items? Yeah, we'll definitely mention that real quick here. It's a good question. Passengers ask me all the time, how much do you make? How much do you make in doing this? Okay, and you don't have to tell them, if you personally don't feel comfortable answering. Sometimes I answer, sometimes I don't. More often than not, I don't, because this is our personal income here. We don't have to disclose, personal income here. But I'll say it's fair, but if you were asking me that question, I will, if I wanted to answer you, excuse me, I would say, right now I'm probably doing about $30 an hour, $40 an hour in fares, or higher demand areas. I would say, actually right now it's on fire. I'm doing about $50, $60 an hour in fares. Remember that we have to pay taxes on that, okay? And depending if you do a W-2 job as well, the taxes may be decently high. You're going to have to look at, what income bracket you fall in. But taxes are part of it. So remember that, is we talk about, revenue, net revenue. So if I'm doing, $50 an hour in fares, and we've shown you how to do $50, $60 an hour, and the strategy behind that is before before taxes, okay? And if you look at a company's tax sheet, there'll be there's plenty of columns on that tax sheet, but one of them says revenue. Then it'll say revenue less expenses, and that gives you net revenue. But then it'll say something. Now I'm not a CPA or anything, but this is just from my experience here, working a little bit in that realm. But it'll say, your revenue, or it'll say, EBITDA. EBITDA. E, earnings before interest, tax, okay? Adjustment. Earnings before income tax adjustment. So they're showing earnings before tax adjustment. So remember that as well, that your earnings are basically that EBITDA. It's your earnings before income tax adjustment. And then after your taxes are done, then you would put on the tax sheet that this is your net revenue after adjustments. Okay, if you want to get specifically, that's what it would be. It's after adjustments. But generally speaking, fares-wise, guys, on this channel, I show you guys how to make easily $20 an hour in fares. $30. And my goal is to constantly hit over $30 an hour in fares, okay? Because again, there's taxes on that, but that's my goal, is over $30 an hour in fares. $40, $50, $60 an hour is exceptional. Below $30 an hour in fares is a slower day, okay? But that's my goal. Okay, Tracy, what to do with left items? David says it's in the app, on the Uber app. I don't know about Lyft. Okay, let's talk about that, guys. We have 10 minutes left. 13 people in the live stream. What I really like, guys, let me say real quick, is I really appreciate that we have an audience from start to finish. That you guys are on here from the start until 2 p.m., an hour and 30 minutes later. And of course, people are going to drop off and join and whatnot, but we carry an audience during this entire live stream, and that really shows me that you guys enjoy the live stream, that this is valuable content, okay, that we're not just here, giving opinions, which is fine, that's fine, but we're also providing concrete strategy, information, things that you want to be here for, because if you're not here, you're missing out on tips, on information, on new announcements, etc. Okay, and we carry this audience of right now 13 people through these live streams, which means the content is staying high, the value is staying high. I really appreciate that. That is awesome, guys. So Tracy, to answer a question here, what do you guys do with left items? We had someone mention that in the last live stream. Go check out that other live stream. It was pretty funny. But okay, so if you leave an item behind, and one of my biggest tips, guys, is always check the back seat when you end every single trip. Install LED lights on your ceiling lights if you can. Really inexpensive. And it's really, really easy to do that, guys. Look at getting some LED lights for your cabin lights in your car. If you don't want to do that, just get an LED flashlight, okay? Pull off safely. If it's residential, go around the corner so you're not just sitting right in front of their house. But pull off safely. Check the back seat with those, LED lights or the flashlight before you take your next ride, because this could be left behind. Okay, there could be phones left behind. There could be wallets, purses, glasses, who knows? I've had all of those things left behind, basically. You want to go in your trip history on Uber. You want to go. Well, I won't go into my trip history. I don't want to pull up anyone's personal information, but go in your trip history, and you want to select I had an issue with this trip. It's going to open another window. It's going to say item left behind. Okay? And within that, Uber is going to have a form. It's going to ask, okay, hey, what was left behind? Can you describe it? That's about it. It says, what was left behind? Can you describe it? And they want you to take a picture of it. Most likely just because when you take a picture of it, what they're going to do when you fill out this form is at the end of it, they're going to say, hey, is it okay if we give the passenger your phone number so you guys can coordinate and get this item back? So most likely Uber's going to send that picture to the passenger and say, hey, did you leave this behind? And they're like, oh my gosh, that's my phone and that's my bag. Yeah, I left it behind. Okay, here's your driver's phone number. You can coordinate getting it back. And that's it. You're going to submit that form, and that's the process. Things you can do, okay, is turn the item in to a green light help location. There is one right over there here in the Bloomfield Shadyside area of Pittsburgh. We have a help center, which is about 5 minutes away, which is awesome for me. If you have a local green light help location, you can turn it in there, okay? And you can either tell support that or you can communicate that to the passenger, just so you don't necessarily have to drive to the passenger, set up a pickup or something to give out, to drop off the item. Something you can do is whenever the passenger texts you or calls you, you can say, hey, you got to come get it. You got to come get it. I'm actually not in your area. But if you want to swing by here, you can definitely pick it up. I do have it for you. And there's nothing wrong with doing that. It's their fault for leaving an item, and that it definitely happens. There's, that's a real thing that happens to everybody. People forget things, and I actually forgot a pair of sunglasses once in an Uber in Tampa. It's gone. Excuse me. I left a pair of sunglasses in an Uber, I believe in Tampa, Florida, and I just got another pair. But it happens to everybody. Happens to everybody. But you can do that. You can say, hey, I'm actually not in your area, and if you could come swing by and get them, that'd be great. And I've done that for somebody, and somebody came and got their missing purse, I believe it was, and they actually weren't that far away. Because especially if these are far runs, you don't want to drive 30 minutes to drop off an item that they forgot. Fun story, real quick here, guys, is I had a passenger once forget a coffee mug in my car, in the cup holder in my car. It was later at night, I don't know, 2 a.m. maybe, and she was just getting off work or something. It wasn't bar related, but she was getting off work, and for that time, I just decided to drive it back. For the customer service aspect of it, the demands trends were shifting away from high surge or whatnot. So I just wanted to drop it off. I wasn't too far away, I believe. And I got to her building, and the concierge at the front of the apartment complex basically wouldn't let me in. It wouldn't let me in. And it was a woman at the front desk, at the concierge desk, let's say. They were luxury apartments. They were very nice apartments. And I was, waving the coffee mug to her. I was waving at her. And she basically wouldn't let me in. And, she finally let me in. It wasn't forever, but it seemed like forever. She was just looking at me, obviously trying to get in. And I told her, I was like, hey, I'm an Uber driver. My passenger forgot this item in my car. And I actually texted her. She should be coming down. But if you can just hold this at the front desk here, she should be coming down and picking this up here shortly. And then I just continued with my night. But that was pretty funny because, apparently I didn't look very trusting because she wouldn't let me in. I'm sure people forget their keys there, right? I don't know. I thought that was pretty odd. She wouldn't let me in. I get it, though. Security purposes, I get it. But we did, and the passenger texted me. Yeah, they said, thank you for returning this. And felt good to do that. But Yeah, you definitely don't have to return items. You can report it through the Uber app. Take a picture, coordinate with the passenger. If they're not far away, then yeah, you can drop it off if you want. If there's no green light help location, they can come get it. If you don't want them coming to your personal, house or whatever, you can say, oh, hey, I can, excuse me, I can meet you down the street, something like that, Starbucks, wherever. But it's up to you. That or you can turn it into a green light center. So for Lyft, guys. Robert, hey, how is the Falcon giveaway participation going? Awesome. We have about 26 days left in the giveaway. Guys, as part of my 500 subscriber, thank you for growing this channel so quickly. We were giving away a Falcon F360 HD dash cam. I will post a link in this description later, or if you're watching this in the rebroadcast, it should already be there. We also have a video about 500 subscribers and the giveaway. It's going well, though. We have a lot of participation. If you guys want to enter, definitely check those links here, which we will add. So continuing here, guys, about the Lyft platform, which we're going to have to do quickly here, is you have to go into the dashboard. Okay, and it's a pain. You can't really do it in the app. You have to click on their dashboard. You have to go in your driver history on the dashboard. You can select the ride. You can contact support. Support must get back to you. And I believe it's via email. It's slow, it's kind of cumbersome. Hopefully they can improve that process. Or if it's changed since then, let me know, guys, because I haven't had to file a report in some time, because I try to check the back seats. But Lyft would go through the dashboard, Tracy. But any final questions, guys? We are closing it up here. We are approaching 1 hour and 30 minutes on the live stream here. Any final questions before we go? And again, I appreciate you guys joining. These live streams are great. If you have any ideas for future live streams for next week, leave a comment in the comment section below, and we can bring up some new topics for live streams. So if we don't have any live streams here, guys, again, thank you so much for watching the live stream here. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing, guys. If you're a driver, a passenger, or someone just interested in the rideshare space, this channel is going to help you. It's going to help you earn more per hour, keep you educated in the rideshare space for Uber and Lyft, bring you news, bring you strategies, money-making strategies when driving. Thank you, guys. Yeah, David, Tracy, I appreciate you guys. I think DMT Lewis left earlier. He was on break in the New York market. Yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate the feedback, guys. And again, subscribe to join the team if you are not subscribed already. We have awesome content here, and we are approaching 1,000 subscribers now. We have blown past 500 subscribers, and we are pursuing 1,000 subscribers and then 5,000 subscribers, and we'll go from there, guys. I really do appreciate it. It's awesome, and I love doing these live streams for you guys. So with that, guys, I think we're going to close it up here. Really, really appreciate that. We have 10 seconds left until 1 hour and 30 minutes. I have to make it to the 1 hour and 30 minute mark. I don't know. It's just, it's just something. It's funny. It's funny, guys. It makes no rhyme or reason, right? Yeah, thank you. Appreciate you, David. Tracy, thanks, guys, for watching. Everyone watching on the live stream here. Appreciate it. All right, guys. With that, your driver Mike here. I do appreciate you watching, and I will see you guys in the next one. Thanks. See you next time.